With Manggagawa Party List Representative Eli San Fernando. Good morning, Congressman, and thanks for joining us again here on Morning Matters.
Hi Pauline, maraming salamat sa pag-imbita sa amin uli sa inyong programa.
Okay, first of all, Congressman, how urgent do you think is this call for a wage increase amid the continued rise in living costs, the inflation that we are now seeing, also brought about mainly by this conflict in the Middle East?
No other than the Philippine Statistics Authority has confirmed that the purchasing power of a Filipino worker has reduced to 30%. Sabihin, 30% na yung nawala doon sa kapasidad ng manggagawa na bumili gamit yung kanyang sahod. So, kung i-compute natin yan, if you're earning 695 pesos, NCR rate, ilan yung 30% yan, 1/3 yan, nasa around 200 pesos. So the real value of a minimum wage earner worth 695 pesos dito sa NCR ay nasa around 400 pesos na lang. So hindi na talaga sapat yan. It's not enough. At talagang hindi na nakakasabay sa bilis ng pagtaas ng presyo ng mga bilihin at serbisyo. Hence, itong panawagan namin for a legislated wage increase. Because even if you increase wages by 200 pesos, hindi pa talaga siya increase na matatawag. You will just recover what has been lost from the purchasing power of the workers. So kaya may urgent need for the regional wage boards to heed the call of the workers for a 200 peso increase at the very least. So meron pa kasing mga meron pa kasing mga naka-file na mga petitions for wage increases ranging from 200 pesos up to 1,500 pesos. But everyone of us in the labor organizations, labor groups are united na dapat merong 200 pesos at least na dagdag sa sahod.
If I understand correctly, Congressman, merong 16 wage hike petitions na nakafile po ngayon, at least sa NCR. Among all these proposals, ano po ba yung pinaka-realistic doon? As you mentioned, ang minimum na nga is 200 pesos and it could go up as high as 1,500. Pero ano doon yung pinaka-justifiable? And yung makatarungan rin naman para sa mga manggagawa?
Doable na yung 200 pesos. In fact, the 19th Congress, the previous Congress, has approved the legislated wage increase bill. Pero hindi lang yan naging ganap na batas kasi pinatay sa Bicameral Conference Committee meeting. So, doable yung 200 pesos. But then again, sinasabi nga namin, even if you increase 200 pesos, parang salbabida lang yan just to keep workers afloat. Pero kung mag-argue lang tayo, doable ba up to 1,200, up to 1,500, 1,600? I think it's doable. No other than the then NEDA Secretary Pernia has said, 2018, a family of 5 needs 42,000 pesos to survive for a month. The word that was used in 2018 was survive. So if the main economic agency, the economic think tank of the government says in 2018, pre-war yun pre-war, kailangan ng 42,000 pesos a month for a family of 5, then they have already done their computations, their math. So sa amin din, we assert that 1,200, 1,500 is doable. Pero kung for the argument, sasabihin ng mga negosyante, kailangan maghanap ng compromise. The compromise there is the 200 pesos wage increase. Anything or any amount below 200 pesos is not acceptable for the workers.
Well, the RTWPB is saying, Congressman, that there's a small chance, quote-unquote, of a wage increase before the usual 12-month cycle. Do you believe that the current regional wage board system is responsive enough dito nga sa mga needs ng mga manggagawa?
Definitely no. The regional wage boards are not responsive to the demand of workers for living wages. There are many criteria. Sasabihin ng NWPC yan. May iba't ibang criteria sa pagtatakda ng sahod. One of which ay yung demand ng mga manggagawa for living wages. And that is anchored upon the constitutional provision sa living wages. But as you can see, throughout history, hindi naman talaga nasusunod yan. Laging sinusunod yung other criteria. Yung other criteria ay yung capacity of employers to pay. So laging naka-side sa mga negosyante yung mga regional wage boards. And also, wala sa batas sa RA 6727 yung inimbento nila na 30 days or 60 days before the anniversary period, doon lang magkakaroon ng review sa mga wage orders. Nakasulat sa RA 6727 and the rules pertaining to the Wage Rationalization Act of 1989, whenever there is an urgent need or a reasonable ground for the regional wage boards to talk about wage increases, dapat mag-convene yung mga regional wage boards. But sadly, no other than the National Wages and Productivity Commission, during the last lead committee hearing, I have asked this directly to DOLE and NWPC. Do you believe that there is an urgent and reasonable ground for us to talk about wage increases? The answer of DOLE and NWPC during that hearing was wala. So kaya yun yung nakakalungkot at nakakagalit dahil yung mismong DOLE at NWPC ang nagsasabi, even if we are in crisis, even if the PSA has already said that the purchasing power decreased up to 30%, sinasabi nila, wala pa ring rason para itaas yung sahod ng mga manggagawa. So that reflects doon sa wage setting mechanism na meron tayo, na hindi responsive yung mga regional wage boards. Hence, we must amend the law or repeal the law. And that has been our advocacy at ginagawa natin sa House of Representatives. We are waiting for the House Bill number 8081 to be scheduled for plenary debates. Kasi yan exactly yung subject matter na pinatutungkulan nun.
Pero yun din yung tanong, Congressman, ba't naman po nagkaganoon? Why do you think this is being stalled and who should be accountable? Because we are already in the midst of a crisis. Napaka-urgent na po nito. Marami na pong umaaray kahit ang middle class.
Tama. Well, diretsahan ang economic managers and also Executive Secretary Ralph Recto. The economic managers are firmly opposed to any wage bills. Take note of that. Sila mismo nagsabi nito ang mga economic managers natin, that means DOF, DepDev, and other agencies, sila mismo nagsabi, tutol sila sa kahit anong pag-uusap sa pagtataas ng sahod, that's one. And second, tutol sila sa kahit anong reform about wage setting. Magkaibang bagay kasi yun. Tapos, kung babalikan natin, during the 19th Congress, isa sa mga pumirma opposing the wage increase is no other than then DOF Secretary Ralph Recto. Ngayon, same din yan. Alam mo, nagdidili-dali. Marami lang palusot Ayaw pang aminin na isa siya talaga sa mga tumututol dito sa pagtataas ng sahod o anumang pag-uusap sa pagtataas ng sahod. And what's striking is, Pauline, wala tayong marinig na kahit ano mula sa presidente mismo. Yan yung panawagan ng mga manggagawa. 2 taon na lang ang natitira sa termino ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos, but not even once, kinausap ang grupo ng mga manggagawa. And pag tinignan mo, kinausap na ilang meetings na ang naganap with the business groups, big business groups and the chambers. Pero not even once kinausap o kinonsulta man lang yung mga manggagawa. So that's really striking. Kasi it reflects the policy direction of the administration. The policy direction of the administration is to protect businesses. There's nothing wrong with protecting businesses. But the problem is, you are not even talking with workers, especially minimum wage and middle income earners. As you can see, walang malinaw na intervention ng gobyerno sa mga minimum wage and middle income earners other than what they boast na ayuda. Kaya nga galit na galit yung mga manggagawa, especially the middle income earners, because workers are overworked, overtaxed, but they are underpaid and underserved by the government. So kaya ano yan, malaking problema yan. So sino dapat nating sisihin? Number one, the economic managers. Number two, Executive Secretary Ralph Recto. And number three, the President himself.
Okay, speaking of the middle class, Congressman, some labor groups are also calling for an expanded income tax exemption up to 50,000 pesos. How realistic is that naman, Congressman? And how critical is that to also easing the burden, especially of the middle class earners?
Iyan din yung isang panawagan. No? Kung ayaw nyo itaas, wala kayong balak na magtaas ng sahod or at least man lang mag-provide ng any immediate relief for middle income earners, at least you raise the bracket for income tax exemption. And it's doable. In fact, may mga naka-file na dyan sa both houses of Congress. So merong up to 500,000, malaking tulong kasi yan. Kasi kapag directly napupunta sa mga manggagawa yung kanilang sahod, so mas nagiging liquid yan, mas may capacity sila na mabili yung mga needs and wants nila. So in the long run, makikinabang din naman yung ating ekonomiya. Because when workers have more money to spend, ang tendency of workers is not to save. The tendency of workers is to spend, to consume. Hence, magkakaroon ng economic activity. So is it doable? It's doable. Pero ayaw pa rin ng gobyerno. In fact, nag-file kami ng panukalang batas na 3-month exemption sa income tax. All income taxes i-exempt sa pagkuha ng buwis. Hindi naman umuusad sa Committee on Ways and Means. O may nag-file 200,000, 300,000 up to 500,000 income tax exemption. Hindi rin umuusad sa Committee on Ways and Means because that reflects the policy direction again of the government. Why? Because the Department of Finance is opposed to any measure reducing income taxes and consumer consumption taxes. Kaya very, very striking nga, di ba? Even if the Congress has already given the President emergency powers, he is still not using it to suspend excise taxes or at least suspend value-added taxes on petroleum products. That's the policy direction because you can hear that over and over again from the Department of Finance na mawawala daw, may revenues na mawawala daw. So kaya makikita natin very problematic yung policy direction ng administration given the fact that at least everyone, business and labor, united na yan, nagkakaisa na ang business at labor doon sa issue ng tanggalin or suspindihin yung value-added tax and excise taxes on petroleum products. So lahat yan na sumasalamin doon sa policy direction ng gobyerno. So kaya malaking problema yan. And again, sino nasa likod niyan? Si Executive Secretary Ralph Recto.
All right, so Congressman, if no wage increase is granted in the coming months and wages remain stagnant, ano po ba yung nakikita niyong pinaka-immediate impact niyan on Filipino workers as well as the economy?
Well, the immediate impact niyan sa mga manggagawa is that we are going to see in the succeeding weeks and months more workers falling down doon sa below poverty threshold. Ibig sabihin, mas maraming maghihirap, mas maraming magugutom ng mga manggagawa. At kakabit ng pagdausdos o pagpunta ng maraming mga kababayan natin below poverty threshold, makikita natin yung impact din ito sa ating ekonomiya. Kasi kung walang magastos, walang perang pambili ang mga manggagawa at ordinaryong Pilipino, how can you expect the economy to run? Wala nga bumibili. So, yun ang isang malaking problema natin. And kung hindi talaga aaksyon ang gobyerno, wala man lang kahit anong meaningful intervention or reform para sa mga manggagawang minimum wage and middle income earners, workers are forced to really go out to the streets to really demand accountability sa mga nakaupo sa pwesto. Kasi hindi na biro itong pinagdadaanan nating krisis. take note, hindi pa humuhupa yung gulo doon sa Middle East. We are expecting that anytime soon puputok uli yan because very, very shaky yung peace negotiations between US and Iran. So we are going to see another spike in the prices of petroleum products, and along with the increase in the prices of petroleum products, tataas din yung presyo ng mga basic commodities and services. So napakalaking problema niyan. Now, kung wala pa rin talagang aksyon ang gobyerno, talagang kikilos ang mga manggagawa. And that is what's going to happen on May 1, and already the labor groups are already talking for a sustained and coordinated nationwide action beyond May 1. So, kumbaga sa strike, we are giving the government nagno-notice of strike na ang mga manggagawa. Kasi kapag wala pa rin talaga at umabot sa sukdulan yung sitwasyon, expect na lang ng administrasyong to ni President Bongbong Marcos na posibleng umabot sa general strike, tumigil ang mga manggagawa sa pagtatrabaho sa buong bansa.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time and for speaking to us this morning. That was Kamanggagawa Party List Representative Ellie San Fernando. Thanks, Congressman.
Thank you.